Dorothy here with Done by Dorothy, and I'm here. It's early morning, so I got my coffee and rearing up. We're going to work on some of our envelopes. We're actually going to work on 3 of them. We're going to do 3 different ones. We're going to do one for each signature. We're going to do 2 small ones and then 1 of the larger ones. So we're going to sort of put these in order. So I know we know what order we're doing our journals in. So this one's going to be in this one. And this one will be for this one, and that one will be for this one. So I want to. We're actually going to use our acrylic sprays. So I'm sort of matching up my colors right now. Well, they're not just all. Those will be for the last one. We'll use the orange for that too. I've got the orange and the 2 blues for this one. And I'll show you the colors in just a second. And then this one, we'll do the blue and the green, and then I'm trying to figure out what other color I want to use with this one, because let's see here. I'm looking at all my colors that I have and trying to decide. Okay, I think, let me, I'm going to shake them up and compare colors to sort of decide if, no, that's too purpley. Okay, so, and I'll show you, these are the sprays that I made out of the apple bottom paint and the Amsterdam acrylic ink paint that I have. The acrylic ink and acrylic paint. So, you know, you can mix up whatever colors that you need. So, like on this first one, it has the blue in the map, the light blue here, and the orange. So, I'm going to use the light blue, which is Apple Barrel, Summer Sky. Then I'm going to use my orange is my Amsterdam out of the acrylic ink, called Vermilion, and it's just a spot on orange, really pretty. And then the Apple Barrel Mermaid Parade matches the darker blues through there. So I'm going to use those 3 for this one. Then for this one, I'm going to be using the Summer Sky, Apple Barrel Summer Sky again. I'm also going to be using the Amsterdam Permanent Green Light, which is this nice grass green color, which I thought would blend with this really well. And then I'm also going to be using the Apple Barrel Cloverfield, which is just a nice pretty grass green. So that'll be for this. And then this last one, I'm going to be using the Amsterdam Emerald Green because of the green up in here and down through here. And then I'm also going to be using this lighter green just as an undertone. And it's actually supposed to be a bluish green. It's like a teal or pastel turquoise type color. And it's Apple Barrel Cabana Stripe. And then I'm also going to be using the Amsterdam Vermilion because of the flowers on here. And I'm going to pull out, and actually I think I will. Yeah, let's use the green. I'm going to take away the Cabana Stripe here. And so I'm going to be using the emerald green, the vermilion orange, and the Amsterdam Naples red yellow light, which is a really pretty like pastel peachy color, which will pull from that flowers really, really well. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to set my signatures aside because I don't want to get them wet and painted on and all of that craziness. So I'm going to set them over to the side here. I'm going to grab another drink of coffee, guys. Sorry. I'm trying to wake up this morning. And if you I don't know if I can tilt it enough where you can see it. I might be able to. Let me take another drink and then I'll be able to tell it. My 18-year-old son got me a mug. He thought he was being funny over the weekend, and he got me a mug, and it actually says coffee makes me poop. Oops, and I just coffee dyed my paper again, guys. Let me get it before my envelope gets in it. Yeah, my envelope didn't get in it. How does that work? Okay. Let me... And see, this is why I don't ever say anything about my drinks or show anybody. But my dry baby wipe is sucking up almost every bit of it. And it does have sugar and coffee creamer in it, so I'm going to use a wet baby wipe because I don't want that sugar on any of my papers, because just like if you... Plus, it probably wouldn't help. It probably wouldn't hurt for me to clean the top of my glass anyway. So if there's any residue inks or whatever, it doesn't bleed through. My thing looks dirty. It's on the bottom side. Even if I clean it, it doesn't come clean. I do have one of the Tim Holtz media mats coming. It's on its way. It just, for whatever reason, is taking forever to ship to get here. It's driving me insane because I've been waiting. This is like week 3. But I know that, you know, Ranger had creative Asian. So a lot of stuff probably got ordered. You know, people always order when they come back from that, and it's tax season and all that. So people tend to order more maybe, and so maybe that's why it's taking longer for my stuff to get here. It's driving me crazy. I want it right now. Okay, so at least now I've got a clean surface. Okay, and we have our envelopes. So, oh, there was a teeny tiny bit there, but I wouldn't... The reason I wiped really well is because, and I'm opening my envelopes up. I know a lot of people like having them, you know, I like them this way. I think they dry better, and then I can sort of see as a whole what I'm doing. Although it might be better. You know what, let's close them up. I got my other 2 closed. I'm going to go ahead and close this one. Normally I put them closed, but why not? We'll do a little bit different this time. Let's see. And we'll close them up and do it. But yeah, so I have one of the large media mats coming, the black ones, that has the nice little work area over here. And also, I'm excited about that. I got some other new things coming in that are going to be really fun to try. So we'll be having some new videos. I also have some more, a couple DIYs that are going to be coming up. Some of them are like awesome. I absolutely love it. One of them is probably going to be, again, well, okay, I don't know about you, but it was a game changer for me. I haven't used it in video yet because I wanted to do the DIY first. But it's something I've been doing for a while, and oh my gosh, I just love it. And it goes beyond journaling. You can use it into a lot of your different crafts and all kinds of card making and album making and all kinds of things. I'm just sort of making sure my envelopes are adhered really well. Although we may have to end up, you know, sometimes after you end up, you're going to have to put them on there, ink them, glue them again. I am so sorry. It is just one of those days. Okay, so here's our envelopes. So let's get started. We're going to start with the one that's going in the cat one first. I am going to reach over here because I keep all my ephemera here to the left side of me. So I have it readily to grab, and my whole reinforcers and all that jazz. So I'm going to gather it all up and move it over here to the other side of me because it's farther down the table, because I do not want everything covered with paint and such. So There we go. Okay, so here we go. Okay, we're going to start with this one. I always start with the lightest color. We're using, let me separate these out so I have them with the envelopes that they're going on. What are we doing with that middle one? The middle one, we're doing the blue and the greens. That's right. Okay. And this is an eco-dyed envelope. The other two are just coffee dye, or well, tea dyed. And I've got my drying gun ready. You always want to make sure you have that because you're going to dry in between your layers. And I'm just making sure. This is one of those things where I try to make sure that I have everything prepped before I start, because when I start I just want to go. Then I've got some different stamps. These are My Mind's Eye, Lost and Found. Tuesday Morning, I think, is where these came from. Yes. And they're just like, there's some squiggles here. There's the word family, just lovely. You know, there's the old-fashioned hand. There's just some squiggles. There's that one. I have this one, My Mind's Eye. And these are this one was Lost and Found Fun. And there's 14 stamps. And this was $2.99 at Tuesday Mornings. This one was $2.99 there too. It's Lost and Found. It's called Camera. There's 11 stamps. They've got these really cute doilies. Little admission ticket. Little banners and lines and things. So I thought we could use some of those. And then this is an LDRS Little Darling rubber stamps. It's actually based out of the UK, I think. I was trying to see. It doesn't say on here, but I think so. But this is called Summer Garden. It's a set of 16 stamps. It's number 2536. I'll see if I can find a link to these and link them in the video if I can find them. And this has like Summer's Beautiful Flowers, Let the Flower Bloom, Magic Blooms, Petals, Plant Your Summer, Plant the Seed That Makes Your Tomorrow. I like Gardens a lot. It's like a little except a lot. Sign of Time, and it's spelled time as in like sign of the times, and it's like time as in, you know, the spice. Earth, Laughs and Flowers. I want daisies in my hair, tea in my hand, and sunshine in my heart. Follow your inner voice to create your garden. I imagine what my soul would look like, and all I saw were flowers. Don't wait for someone to bring you flowers. Plant your garden and feed your soul. And this one says, let's dance in the sun with flowers in our hair, and it's got the little flower in it. So, and, you know, there's some of the little squirrels and things like that, or individual little extra flowers too. So I thought we could use that for some of our text. When I do my text, I actually like having the text have words that sort of go with the theme. So this is very naturey, gardening naturey, so I thought that would go good. So I do have these stamps, and we'll pull those out as we need them. Okay, I have a brush that I'm going to use. I am going to be stamping, but when I stamp, I will not be using, I'm not going to be using ink. I'm actually going to use acrylic paint and chocolate sprinkle. I thought that would be a little bit different. And let's see, make sure I've got everything. And I've got an acrylic block. All of my stamps are pretty small, so I'm just going to be doing off the end. So I only need, you know, that small bit to be able to do. So I didn't have my huge block out. So let's get going. We're going to start with our Apple Barrel Summer Sky. And again, you know, make sure you shake these before you use them, just like you do any of your sprays or spritzes. Okay. And then I'm just going to throw some on there. And I am going to, let me, is the blue, we were using the blue on all of them, right? Oh no, we're using the orange on the last one. Right, yeah. Okay, so we're using the blue on this one and the big one. So I will pull out my big envelope, and I will do it while I'm doing this one, so I only have to spray this. You know, I'm only having to pull this paint out once. There's no sense bouncing back and forth between paints 19 times. And again, I just dry off my stopper. Put my lid on, put it to the side. Okay, so, and I may have to use some more. And I'm just randomly sort of dipping. Just like you do with inks, but I'm using the paints. And I'm just going to sort of work my envelope around trying to pick up some of that paint. Be prepared to get your hands sort of wet and icky. Okay. So I have that. I'm going to set it to the side. It's not going to hurt it while it lets it dry. And it's just going to give it that sort of overtone that it's there. It's not going to be as... And this keeps me from having to, you know, pull my ink back out after I put it away, that type of thing. I'm going to dip this back just a little bit more and get a little bit of a bigger, you know, puddled area on there so it shows. And then I'm just going to set this over on my rag. And you're always going to start with your lightest colors, and you want to layer it up. And I'm not worried about getting my hands wet, you know, with the paint, because I can literally wipe it off. It's not a big deal. And if you need more paint, you just spray more paint. Not a problem. Okay. And then if you have extra paint, reaching over here, because we do have all our ephemera to go, I'm just going to take a piece of my tea-dyed paper and just sort of wipe up the blue. It's not going to be where it shows a lot, because, you know, we don't have that much on there. We've used a lot of it. It's just going to have a little bit on there. Okay. And I'm going to just set that aside because I can add to that as I need to. I'm going to pull this out on here. You know, you can tell it's already starting to dry some, so it won't take that long. So I want little spots, and then because I want a little bit more, so you're going to get that sort of like mottled spot at the same time, but then you're going to get where that puddles up, it's going to get really dark. Because I want some darkness in there too. I'm going to get my rag. I'll go ahead and wipe off my bottle because I'm done with it now. Until I turn it over to the back, and then if we have to add more, you know, we have that ability. And again, I'm just going to dry it, and I'm sorry if it's, you know, the drying gets on there. This is a really light color, so it's not going to come through near as much as what our darker colors are. So just remember that this is the light layer. Okay, my rag, sort of wipe that up. And it doesn't take very long to dry. But remember, with acrylic, once it's dry, that's permanent. So you want to make sure it's dried really well, and that keeps, when you layer your next one on, you know, then that makes sure it's permanent on there. So, okay, so that one's done. Let me set it to the side while I'm drying this one, so you can see, hopefully you guys can see the blue on there. And again, this was the light coat, so and again, I know this drying, I'm sorry, I could have stopped it, I guess, and dried, but and again, just making sure that that's all dry, because you want that layer locked in. So you can see, like here where, you know, it puddled in where those leaves had done it, it really filled in those gaps. Okay, so that's that layer. So let's I'm sorry guys, I'm double checking to make sure I'm putting what I need to go where together. So okay, so our next lightest color is going to be our vermilion orange. I don't want to spray as much with this because it is a red based color, and red based colors tend to, so we will play with this as we pick it up. Now let me think. Yeah, we'll do this one, and I'm just going to again dip into there, not crazy, because as you can tell, the orange is going to pick up a lot more than that light blue did. So usually if you have a darker color, you may have to spray less. The blue we did, yeah, because see, that's more than enough. And then I'm actually going to cheat. In our other envelope, we're going to be using orange, but there's a lot of orange left here, so I don't want to, you know, waste that. So I'm going to tilt that envelope up, and I'm just going to sort of in here spray some spots of the lighter color that we're going to be using. And then I'm going to come back through, where's my orange? I'm going to come back through and, you know, sort of darken up some of these areas of orange. And then when I do this, I'll get both colors at the same time. Which, you know, them both being that tone, we'll still have to go through and sort of spray some of the lighter. And you can do that, put the base on, you know, the dark base on, and then spray your lighter if you want to. It just sort of depends. It's, you know, it's one of those things. Do what you feel, you know, gets the desired effect that you like. So, okay, let me put there. I'm going to come in and let me use my paper again. I might as well. And like I said, anything with a red tone is going to be a lot more brighter, a lot more contrasting. This was made with, and one thing to remember too, that, you know, I'm not just using the acrylic paint, I'm actually using acrylic ink too. And your inks are a lot stronger than your paint. So, and they don't take long to dry, so makes it sort of nice. The inks dry a lot faster. And they will stain your hands where a lot of times the paint won't. Because the pigment in the inks are so much stronger. So, while I'm drawing that, I'm going to pull this light color out again and just do a couple, you know, hardcore spritzes where it sort of darkens it up. And this one's done, and there's the blue. It's got the blue and the orange on there. Now, these are where I wiped, so if I want a little bit darker, I could come in and spray with that, but I really don't want that orange to darken up any, because I sort of like the way that it is. Okay, and we're done with this one, so let me wipe it down while we're drying. So, let's see, we're done with our light blue, and we're done with that, we're done with our orange, I already wiped it and filled it on it. So, you know, we're sort of doing all these together, so sort of helps make it go faster. And then I'm going to set this to the side. Okay, that's got the dark blue in it, and then okay. So I'm going to set that to the side. Okay, we've got that done. So we got our light blues. So we're going to go in with our dark blue here. And we're going to use it for, let's see, our first signature and our last signatures. So the two small envelopes is what we're going to use it on. I think. Let me double check. Yes. And then the large envelope we're doing the two greens on, so. Okay. Isn't that blue pretty? And this is Apple Barrel Mermaid Parade. And again, this is dark, so remember if you splotch it down in there, it's going to cover up a lot. So we're just going to sort of hit the outside edges here like that, because we don't want to cover everything up. Yeah, I really like that one. I think we'll keep that right like it is. And then we're using it on the last one too, correct? Nope. Is that the only one we're using the blue on? Let's see. I'm double checking here, guys. Oops. I think I just crossed them, but that's okay because it'll work. Okay, so that's it for that one. That was one we didn't do a lot on. Just that one. So, again, I'm going to grab my paper and just so you're sort of creating your own designs too. There we go. Let's just wipe up the extra. And it wipes off really easy. Just have a slightly damp rag and it wipes off. Okay. So, okay. We're going to save this one to the last because we have to have that darker color. So we're going to come in with this light green now. Oh, I guess now we can do that because that's two different color on there. So, yep, this one gets the dark green now. Well, it's not dark green. It's permanent green light is what it's called. And I'm just going to do that because I think that's enough. Because I don't want it to be, you know, so green that it's intrusive through everything else. Yeah, so like that, you're going to get the underlying tones. But it's not going to be crazy. And you'll see a lot of people do this with like distress inks, but you can actually do it with, you know, your spray paints. I'm going to set this to over here. And I'm going to come in with this and just wipe up my excess paints. And if you notice, I haven't been drying this page, but when I come back, it's almost always dry. So just setting it to the side that little bit. So if you don't want to, you know, waste the electricity of drying your envelopes and such, you can just set them to the side, you know, and do one color on each one. And by the time you come back and circle through, that will be dry. Okay. So, this one's dry already. See where we set it up? And it's finished as far as paint wise. So that one's done. So add a little bit of heat to this one, try to speed it up a little bit. So yeah, see that one where we set it aside while we were doing that? I actually did that. I got paint all over my hands. Okay, so we have this one, and this one is getting, see this has the light blue. This is getting the green, or the clover fields, and the emerald green. The clover fields is the apple barrel acrylic paint. The emerald green is the Amsterdam acrylic ink. Obviously the paint you have to use a little bit more of because, you know, and I'm going to do this the lazy way. I'm going to come through and I sprayed way more than what I need on there. But I am going to grab another piece of coffee dyed paper. And set that in there. That's not going to suck up everywhere. And then I'll turn it over. And again, you know, there's enough paint on there. I'm just sort of tapping in places. And then, you know, I can pick up, then I can focus on, you know, I want this bright green down here. So I'm going to walk through my bright green areas and, you know, get it on there. So put that to the side. Let me grab this new piece here. And just set this, I'm going to set it up on my rag here so it doesn't get on anything. And again, you know, if you're watching, you just rub across there and that picks all that up. So I'm not really wasting anything. And I got that gorgeous page out of it, which I love. So this was just the overspray, that one, and this one. So see how I kept this, I sort of wanted two different colors in case, you know, I wanted to use them for different things. So I added the green on this side and left this side just the blue. This I sort of blended, and then I can come back through, you know, and I can, you know, do a little overspray if I want to. Let me wipe that off before I put it up. And then I'll take the emerald. You know, maybe a dark spot there, dark spot there. You know, if you don't want them super dark, I can go back through and tap that out. So, I mean, you can add to it as you're going. So, let me get this wiped off. I'm going to set these aside to dry. They'll be dry before we get done, and I can show them to you then. So, I'm just setting them down here to dry. And again, I have green all over my hands, which is fine. I'm not worried about that. It's all dry, so dry this envelope and get it done. And I love the sort of undertones that these give off. It is very earthy. This almost reminds you of like splotchy, watery. And you know, if you don't want to stencil your pages before you put them in and you have, you know, certain pages, you can do the same thing on your actual pages in your book. Sort of blend it together if you don't want to stencil or ink, you know, stamp or stencil anything. I have my emerald green over here is leaking. And I just have a little basket. I have a shelf that sits right to my right that has all of my paints, dyes, inks, etc., on it. So I can just reach over and grab those as I need them. So when as I'm getting done with them while I'm drying, I'm putting them right back. So, you know, I'm not just drawing, I'm actually doing something else too. Okay, let me, okay, that is done. Okay, so we have that done. So now I want to go into stamps. So I'm going to set this over here. Let's pull out with this one first. And I always sort of, it just, the way that I'm trying to decide. Okay. This one goes in here, so it has the cat on front. So I like to just sort of see. Do you think I'm going to use these? I think I'm going to use this one. I just sort of eyeball to decide what I'm going to do. And these are clear, and again, they do really good stamps, so, I mean, they're pretty clingy. I actually think I'm going to pause. I'm going to grab a bigger ink block, because I want these doilies to show up all the way. So let me switch that out real fast. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I'm going to squirt just a little bit of my chocolate sprinkles paint here. And then I've got my paintbrush, and I'm going to just, I put way too much of this out. It's okay. I'm actually going to reach in here. I've got glycerin, and I'm going to put maybe 3 drops of glycerin in there. All that's going to do, I'm going to mix that in with my paint really well. That's going to keep my paint from drying so fast. Since I got so much, it is going to make it real flowy, so it will be more like an ink. So I'm just going to set my acrylic block over here to set my brush on, because I don't want to set it down on my table. Hopefully it won't be in the way. I do have it really thin, so I'm just going to put my stamp in there. And I didn't even make sure it got everywhere. I'm going to start down here in the corner. And I'm going to go over here. Let's see. Over here. And I'm just going to keep sort of stamping off. I don't want that. I will just do the edges. This will do across both because it'll show. And again, you know, you can just keep randomly stamping off. Just adds a little to it. Then I actually, oops, I'm going to come into, I want to put some kind of saying on it. Let's see what kind of saying. How about magic blooms? I actually think I'll do this because it sort of looks reminiscent of the little doilies. It says, I imagine that what my soul would look like, and all I saw was flowers. So I'm going to ink that up really good. And I just have this, you know, excess tag over here I'm going to stamp off on. Just make sure it's going to go through really good. Make sure I'm getting it inked up really well. Because with the paint, it's a little bit more. And I'm just going to put this right here. I do not like how it's stamped. So we're going to end up covering that up. Yeah, I do not like how these are stamping, guys. Which is fine. It's just sort of as a background. So we will do that different. I'm going to keep, I'm actually going to get this other doily over here. And I'm going to do the, let me find my block. And I'm just going to set my stamps up because it's acrylic paint. It will dry. And you know, you may have better luck with ink. I mean, I can take my brush and just paint across the top. You just have to be, you know, really careful because it will fill in all those little cracks and crevices. I'm going to go back over top of that one because it just, oh, not liking it, guys. Yeah. I don't know if maybe I put too much glycerin in. I do not like how they turn it out. I mean, that one doesn't look too bad once we cover it up. I mean, I've got stuff I'm putting over top of it, so I guess it'll be okay. Then I'm just going to use this on top of here and I'm not going to worry about where that brown got on there because it's just going to add to it. Throw that over there. I'm not doing the backs. Just put my brush in water, and then I can come in with this and just sort of, you know, randomly collect that paint on. It's a scrap piece of paper, so it's not going to matter, but at least then I'm not wasting my paint. Let me grab another piece. Do the same thing. And that's just going to create that, you know, wood tone, almost brown wood. So I'm going to just and again, I'm going to come in and just wipe it up. So yeah, stick with the ink. No, just, I've used paint before, not with this brand of stamps. So, you know, maybe not something with so much detail. But we'll fix it. It's okay. I just wanted it as sort of the background anyway, so. I mean, technically, when I painted them, you could have put them in there just painted and called it good. Let me set this to the side so it dries. Okay, so now we're going to start decorating these. So let me grab the bottom one, which is, I know it's going to be the driest. Wipe my hands off. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. I put all the stamps over here out of the way. Pull my ephemera over here. Because I am putting ephemera across the top of this, so, you know, that's not going to be any problem. So I actually think I'm going to put this squirrel on there. I like that. I do. Okay, so I want to chomp the quarters. And I want to do it at a 1/4 inch, not at 1/2 inch. Because I want small rounded corners, not that big not the big rounded corners, because you can choose that. Okay, and I'm going to ink up the outside area of this. So yeah, I mean, if you wanted to leave it, you know, just sort of ink it up and add some, I mean, I could put that in there. That really doesn't look horrid, or awful or bad or whatever, however you want to say it. But I actually want to put this on the front. So see, only parts of that are going to show. And I like leaving the other side, you know, just with the paint that we added, not with any of the stamping, because to me it sort of adds another layer to it. You know, you sort of get like 2 designs for the price of 1 per se, if you want to say it that way. Let's see, let me center this up to the best of my ability. Okay. Now, put my lid back on there. I'm going to grab my ink, because remember, we haven't distressed around this either. So once we distress, that'll add another layer of, you know, ink on the outside. Which will change it some, because every time you add something to it, it changes it. Oopsie. So if everybody had a good day, I need to glue that corner down. It's a little loose. Ink over here, and then I'll grab my glue. Oh, I missed just the little corner right there. Now, you don't want to add your distress ink before you add your paints, because, well, I mean, you can, but then it is gonna, especially, well, not if you use the distress, it will blend and smear some. If you use the oxides, it will do the oxidation. When you put it there. And see, I sort of like, because where we, hold on, I'll show you, let me get this. Where we stamped everything flat, so you know, you get that envelope, the flap is stamped at the bottom, you know, just has that sort of solid painted base. I like that. And a lot of times I will leave my envelopes. Now, if you're wanting to tie your envelopes in the center of your signatures, and you're wanting to bind them in, then you keep your envelopes open, folded open. So you mind. So there's our envelope. Not too bad, huh? And then there's the back when it's closed. And then when it's opened, you even have color up in there. So, yep, not too bad, not too bad. And that goes in here with our cat. See, it sort of does have that tone. And I am putting them in the middle, but I'm actually going to clip them in. But we have this here. So I actually think what I will clip it, but the flap will be this way when I clip it. So let me look. We had our papers that we made and we folded up. Let me see where I put them. Or I tucked them somewhere, didn't I? This one was tucked under a belly band, wasn't it? Yeah, because this is the cat. This was tucked under a belly band, so we need to find that belly band. Let's see, where did the belly band go? Didn't we create a belly band in here? Yes. So, you know, that'll have the butterflies inside of it. And again, you know, if you were doing that, you could, you know, put a picture of the butterflies on the front if you want it to match. I sort of like it having that. You know, sort of complex. You know what, let's put this, let's turn this around this way. That way we can get this in here and we can sort of tilt it and our little squirrel will stick out. There we go. So that's in there. So that one's we've got. So it was a little more in our cat. Okay, then this one is on the end and it's got the orange flower on it. Like this. But I don't want to use this. Let's find something else we can put on the front of there in our ephemera. I like that one for that though. Hold on, guys. I'm looking. Nope, I don't like that. You know what? I have an owl here somewhere. Let me find it. I think it would look, and we can do an upright one. Yep. I'm gonna dab that real fast because it just feels sort of sticky. Okay, so let's go around and ink this up. And you don't have to ink it, you know, that's an alternative. Sort of up to you if you want to ink it or not. Sorry about the loud noises. It's one of those days. I like the inking. I think it adds a lot to it. I usually ink the front on envelopes. Sometimes I'll ink the back. It just sort of depends on what it looks like. I always make sure I ink the fronts. Most of the time the backs. Sometimes I space it and forget, but like this has such color on it that I think actually these envelopes were just dyed extremely well. I mean, pat on the back to me. No, but they dyed really well. So I mean, they had a lot of that natural tone on the outside edges. So that really helps. Okay, then we're gonna put our owl on here, and I just want him like right there. Make sure I get all the corners again, and I did not chomp the corners of this. The owl is, you know, sort of rounded. And long, so I want to sort of keep that rectangular look. I don't know why. It's just some kind of weirdness that some things I like rounded and some things I don't. It just sort of, at random moments, you never know what I'm going to do. As soon as you think that you do, you don't. Okay. And I may come back and, you know, put a little bit more. I don't know. I don't really put a whole lot on there, so that's that. This goes into our final signature. So let me see if I put our paper in here already or not. I don't know if I did or not. Nope. So let me find that paper. We had it all folded up. Oh my. And I moved stuff on my table, so Lord help us. Let me move over here and see. Well, it is here. It's just a matter of finding where there it is. I found it! And that's just going to slide in there. And then this one, I'm going to go to our the middle. And this is supposed to be here. Let's see where we want to put this. I sort of like putting it where we don't have a lot going on. You know what? Let's do this one in the front. No. Let's see what we got going back here. Yeah, like right there. Right there is good. Then this one we will just, I want to put this like this. And then let me grab a paper clip. And I have these, ouch, really cute little, they're all kinds of different ones. They're arrows and cameras and regular ones, and let's see, there's a bunch of different little shapes in here. Let's use an arrow one since the owl always looks in a certain direction. And then all we'll do, put that in there, slide that clip on there to hold him in, and he's in there. So that one's done. That one's done. Okay, let's pull out this one. This is our big envelope. I actually like this, but I think it's too much blue. So let's see what we got going here. Ooh, you know, what about a rat? Because it has that brown right in there. Well, let me see what else we have. And I know everybody's like, oh, why would you put a rat in a kit? Well, you know, they're a part of nature too. Yeah, I can't just leave things out because we don't like them. Because if that's the case, how many people would be left out? Because, you know, there's always people we don't like. Or, you know, people that not everybody likes. Okay, so I'm going to use my rat. But I actually think... Hold on just a second, guys. We're going to make him pretty. He needs extra special love. Okay, let me round to these corners. And again, I'm doing it at 1/4 inch. Okay, this is a 1/4 inch. I'm going to ink up the edges here. Get off the end because it geared up for whatever reason. And I'm not going to put it all over. Well, daggone it. I do need to put that on top of my... Alright, glitter glue. There we go. And I'm just going to run a line all the way around. And again, remember, Fabri-Tac gives you a while. It doesn't dry immediately. So you have time to move things around. So I'm just literally going to go all the way around my card on the edge. Okay. Then, I don't know how much I'm going to need, so I'm going to leave this in my spool. I'm going to grab this and, let's see, where is the bottom? Flipped upside down. I like starting if there's going to be a ending. I like doing it on the bottom and not on the top. And again, I'm just going to take this around the edge. Just enough to tack it down. And when I get to the corners, I'm just folding it a little bit. And I don't have to really worry about gluing that because I'm going to glue it down in a minute. But when I go back around, it's going to sort of catch that. And because it catches that, it's going to fold it and almost create like a bowl around the edge, I guess. I don't know what else, other way to say that. I'm going to put that there. Bring that all the way to here. And I'm looking for my little scissors that are up here. Okay. Then I'm just going to barely cross them. I'll show you. Let me cut this off and get this out of the way. Okay. I'm working on organizing my lace. So instead of going and, buying, I'm not going to, this is just me, I'm not going to go spend money to buy cute little things. I mean, I do spend money to buy cute little things to put stuff on, but I just cut some medium weight chipboard in 2-inch strips, cut them in 4-inch, so I get in 4-inch strips. So I actually get like 24 out of a 12 by 12 piece of chipboard, and then just wrap it around there, and it holds really good, and it's sturdy, so it doesn't bend in the way. Sturdy, so I can stack them. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here, and there's all the little bit that I left hanging over. So I'm just gonna tap a little there. Then I'm going to, because I am using fabric, I'm gonna go ahead and just over the top of the very edge, because I want it to, you have holes there. So that's going to go through that hole into that paper, but it's also going to attach it to the other paper. So you're sort of re-sticking. And then as a whole, I'm going to cover the back. I'm not going to cover it till it's like really, really thick, but I'm going to put enough on there that it gets in a good piece of gription. Then you'll see the little bowl thing in a minute. And we can cut that if you want to cut it, you can. It doesn't really bother me. I'm going to actually take a little glue and tack the corners down, which will sort of help, keep the ribbon from being all crazy. So just in the corners, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. I'm going to stick that down and hold it a little bit. Well, I can do 2 at once. Maybe. And, if it's a little tight, pull a little bit and you'll get, that lace will stretch a little bit. You just have to hold it down and give it time to adhere. So, at least we'll have our envelopes done at this time. And then we can get into decorating. And this one we haven't made our ephemera to go in it yet. Okay. And this one I'm actually going to use the tab to adhere it. So when we sew it in, we'll sew it in that way. So that was our envelopes. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I know you guys probably didn't think they would look like that. They actually turned out really well. The paint, I may have made it too runny. That may have been my fault. So, because I've used it before and it's done fine. So, that's part of crafting on the go. So, anyway, I hope you guys have a great day and we'll see you again next time. Bye.